What's up guys, my name is Josh. Welcome back to another video. In this video we're going to be talking about the Inferno Dragon. I'm just going to give you my thoughts and opinions on the card, whether it needs a nerf, whether it needs a buff, you know, how you can counter it, what counters it in return, and yeah, just my general thoughts and opinions on the card. So let's jump straight into it. I think that first of all, let me say, I think that the Inferno Dragon needs a nerf. Now, that might be controversial considering they just released the Zappies, which is basically a hard counter to the Inferno Dragon. Or not a hard counter, but it definitely counters it more than other cards. But I still think that it needs a nerf. You know, now, I'm not calling for a huge nerf, I just want to see a slight, ever so slight health reduction. Whether that be 1%, whether that be 2%, whether that be 3, 4, or 5%. I think, for me, I would probably go for 3% health reduction. It just, I don't know in terms of the actual statistics and the numbers behind that 3% reduction, but for me, I just feel like with Lightning, the fact that Lightning isn't in the meta right now, he's kind of a dead card, you know, especially in challenges, not so much on the ladder, but when I talk about cards, I'm talking about tournament standard and challenge, you know, leveled cards, you know. So I think that for what the card is, let's talk about what the card is. Basically, it's a moving Inferno Tower. You know, it does exactly the same thing as an Inferno Tower, but it has the ability to move, you know, and to go and to follow troops and to go and on a counter push, you know, which I think is insane when you think about it, because then that kind of negates the Inferno Tower. Why would you ever bring an Inferno Tower into the battle when you could bring an Inferno Dragon for one less elixir? Now, obviously there is pros and cons to both. You know, the fact that the Inferno Tower is 5 elixir and it sits in one place, you know, it is, you know, more ideal to kind of deal with ground-based or air-based, you know, big tanks. But then again, so is the Inferno Dragon. Now, the only thing with the Inferno Dragon is that depending on where you place it, it is easier to obviously counter with cards such as the Zappies or the Electro Wizard, or you know, you could zap it or you can lightning it. And this is what I was getting at earlier. The fact that you can't lightning the Inferno Dragon, you can't kill the Inferno Dragon with a lightning, is absolutely insane to me. Lightning costs 6, Inferno Dragon costs 4. You cannot kill the card for 6 elixir, which is insane to me. You know, I don't understand that for 1 second. There's no spell in the game. Never mind. I just thought about the spell that does kill it. It's the rocket for 6. However, you're not going to spend 6 elixir to take out the Inferno Dragon unless it's directly on the tower, so you can get tower damage too. And my point is, why lightning should kill the Inferno Dragon is because it costs 6 elixir, and then you obviously get the tower damage with the lightning, and then, I don't know, maybe it shouldn't kill it, but I just think it's a bit ludicrous that a 4 elixir card survives a 6 elixir card, so it survives, and the person who used the lightning has a 2 elixir deficit. For me, that's insane. You know, I know, like I just said, the rocket is the only card in the game, the only spell in the game that outright kills the Inferno Dragon. But obviously, like I just said, unless you put it exactly on the tower to get the tower damage too, you're not really going to rocket a lone Inferno Dragon, unless you need to, like dire straight situation, it's locked on your tower, you have no other spell, no other troop that can get it, you rocket it, right? That's the only situation I see that you would use it, obviously. And then if they put the Inferno Dragon behind their tower, then you would rocket it. That's the only 2 situations where you can outright kill the Inferno Dragon with a spell. Now, obviously you can counter it in many other ways. You know, you can distract it with small troops like goblins, skeletons. Guards are a great counter, but they don't kill it, they just distract it, you know. You know, minions and minion horde and bats are a great counter too, and they will kill the card for less elixir. But I just think that it just needs a slight haircut, you know, a slight health reduction. Whether that be, like I said, whether it be 1, 2, or 3%, it needs it, in my opinion. You know, for what it does and for the capabilities of the card, it can kill, you know, Mega Knights, it can kill Golems, it can kill Lava Hounds, it can kill any card, Pekkas, any big troop. You know, that's what the card is ideal for, right? And I'm not saying it's easy to. I'm not saying it's hard to counter the card. It's definitely not hard to counter if you know what you're doing. You can counter the Inferno Dragon easily. But I just think when you spend 6 elixir, such as the lightning, you want to kill the card that you're lightning. What's the plural of lightning? Huh. I just think that for 6 elixir, you're losing 2 elixir, and the card is still alive, so you still have to deal with it. So if they counter with a Hog Rider, and then the Inferno Dragon's got 1 health left behind it, you know, you're going to have to deal with that Inferno Dragon again. I feel like I've been quite negative on the Inferno Dragon so far, so I will try and, you know, spin it in a positive light. It is a great card, you know. If I was you in this meta right now, use the card if you have it. It's a great card, and I cannot deny that. But I will never kind of stray away from, even if it's a good card and it's good in the meta, I'll never stray away from saying if it needs a nerf or not, you know. I don't want to perpetuate cards that are already strong and, you know, and you know, not act like they aren't really strong currently. And the Inferno Dragon is really, really strong right now, because we see a lot of Mega Knights, we see a lot of P.E.K.K.A.s, we see a lot of Golems. Golems really prevalent in the meta right now. So it only makes sense for there to be, you know, counters for it, and the Inferno Dragon works perfectly against Golems. You know, as long as you can kill the supporting troops behind it, Inferno Dragon is perfect for those kind of situations, and I can't deny that. I think, like I said, it is easy. Once you know how to counter it, it is pretty easy. But if you have no counter to it in your deck and you face an Inferno Dragon, you know, get ready to throw out the crying emoji, or because how can you deal with it? You know, obviously you have to bring air troops into all of your decks, you know, to be able to deal with these kind of things. You know, and you can assume that most people, well, you know, half the people in Grand Challenges that I play in will have the Inferno Dragon. So I have to bring, you know, minions, or I have to bring an Electro Wizard, or I have to bring a minion, bats, or a minion horde, and everyone's carrying Zap right now. So you can always reset the dragon, right, the Inferno Dragon. But can you kill it? How do you kill it? Well, I think, you know, poison's a great place to start, because everyone's carrying poison right now, so it's 4 for 4. And then maybe some bats. Again, you're always going to lose elixir. There's nothing for 4 elixir that you can completely counter the Inferno Dragon with. On its own, maybe the Flying Machine, you know, maybe... Okay, so you can counter the Inferno Dragon on its own with less elixir. For example, bats and minions, and even an Ice Spirit can pretty much kill it. If it's coming directly at your tower on its own, you can wait 3 seconds as it's charging on your tower, Ice Spirit it, and then another 3 seconds, and then perhaps zap if you think it's gonna take your tower, or if you get a bit panicked. So that's 3, a worst case scenario. But best case scenario, you can counter it for 1. But the problem is when it's behind tanks, or when it's behind other things on the counter push, that is when it is deadly. Because what do you counter it with for 4 elixir? Maybe that, like I said, maybe the Flying Machine, or, you know, I'm trying to think of cards off the top of my head. I can't think of any. The Flying Machine is the only card that I can really think of that counters the Inferno Dragon on the counter push. Or, you know, again, minions and bats and minion hordes and baby dragon and stuff like that. But you have to deal with the tank in front of the Inferno Dragon first. So it's a tough card to deal with. It can be very tough to deal with, that's for sure. And I think it's just one of these kind of things where, because it's a legendary card, you know, Supercell will naturally make cards stronger than any other card. Obviously that makes sense, because they're a higher rarity, right? And they're more elusive and more and they're harder to obtain in the game. But, you know, I don't think, if they're going to keep going down this route of releasing legendaries that are insanely overpowered, like when the Mega Knight came out, people were shocked at how, you know, how many different attributes it had. You know, it has the splash damage. I hate to go off on a tangent, but it has the splash damage, and then it has the health of a P.E.K.K.A. or a Golem, you know, and then it has the dash charge like a bandit. And then obviously when they released Royal Ghost, it's like, it has the invisibility, it had the splash, it has the health, it has the DPS. And it's like, these legendary cards are becoming insane. But one thing with the Inferno Dragon was when they released it, it wasn't that good. It wasn't a good card at all. So I can give them props for that because they slowly but surely buffed it. I think it got 3 buffs before it got to the place where it is now. So it's definitely deserving of the spotlight. Like I say, I think just to sum up, I think it maybe needs a slight nerf. You know, if they didn't touch it, it wouldn't be a big deal to me. But I do think it needs an ever so slight nerf, in my opinion. It's in a lot of decks. It's in a lot of, you know, high percentage win rate decks, and it's very prevalent right now in the meta. So I think it deserves its spotlight, but I would like to see it, you know, catch a small nerf. And, you know, that's my thoughts and opinions on a card. Let me know if you disagree in the comments down below. And I'll catch you in the next video, guys. Peace out.